Twilight Zone Lecture 3, submitted for your approval. In this lecture, I want to suggest that the Twilight Zone not only dipped its toes into the science fiction genre, but waded through its neon streams. And yet, as a genre, it was never properly science fiction. Perhaps a better way of putting it is this. Science fiction, while an important and even pervasive part of the show, was never its primary concern. Rather, its primary concern was that of the human condition, the inspiring potential and dark recesses of the human heart. But as a genre, the show was always multivalent. Horror writer Stephen King said of the show, and I quote, "Of all the dramatic programs that have ever run on American television, The Twilight Zone is the one which comes closest to defying any overall analysis." It was not a Western or a cop show, although some of the stories had Western formats or featured cops and robbers. It was not really a science fiction show, not a sitcom, although some of the episodes were certainly very funny. Not really a cult, although it did occult stories frequently. The Twilight Zone was its own thing. Fresnel and McGee agree, writing that the show is, quote, invariably referred to as science fiction. Yet ultimately, it is not science fiction. True, many episodes are ostensibly set in far-off places, planets, or worlds. And yes, many episodes involve alien visitors, outer space, or time travel. But whatever the setting, whatever the premise, the focus remains the same: ourselves. To viewers then and now, the show has offered lessons on what it means to be human. From our admirable qualities and strengths, to our shameful fears and prejudices. As Buck Hutton, head producer of seasons 1 through 3, once said of the show, "Television hasn't touched it yet. Sure, there have been science fiction and fantasy shows before, but most of them were involved with gadgets and leprechauns. The Twilight Zone is about people, about human beings involved in extraordinary circumstances, in strange problems of their own or of fate's making." Rod began his career as a freelance writer, a precarious occupation indeed. But his talent soon prevailed, and after winning 3 Emmys in a row for his work on Playhouse 90, there was nothing standing in his way. Thus, his colleagues in the industry were shocked when they learned that Rod planned to create a science fiction series, which at the time, many considered to be a lesser genre. What they didn't realize was that for Rod, science fiction was a Trojan horse. It was a genre that allowed him to disguise social commentary as a fantasy show about alien spaceships, faraway galaxies, and distant, technologically advanced future societies. But in reality, the show was about us. The Twilight Zone, as he originally conceived it, gave Rod a soapbox to take on the political and social issues of his day, while also eluding the censors. Speaking of censors, I interrupt this lecture with a quick word from our sponsor. The modern housewife is weighed down with more responsibilities than ever. With so few hours in the day, it can be hard to keep a tidy home. Between washing the dishes, scrubbing the floor, cleaning the windows, and taking care of the kids, it's amazing this housewife has the energy she does. Boy, just look at her go. Yes, the modern housewife has a full-time job. It's amazing any woman finds the time to make her husband a proper dinner.
Dinner? Dear me, I forgot dinner and Ward is due home in 15 minutes. Whatever will I do?
Well, Margaret, lucky for the modern housewife, there's Spam, a modern technological marvel. Simply open, let slide, and cook for 15 minutes. Spam, the only 15-minute meal with a 2-hour taste.
That's Spam, the only 15-minute meal with a 2-hour taste. But that'll be our little secret, won't it?
Welcome back. As long as we're on the topic of genre, I'd like to give you some pointers regarding style. Today, you should have read several articles on how to write television reviews. For students with your backgrounds, the instruction regarding content and organization is probably second nature to you at this point. But writing in an entertaining style will likely be a new challenge for most of you. With this in mind, I leave you with the following tips. Experiment with word choice, sentence length, and rhythm. Ask yourself, who is the audience and what do they expect from the genre? When writing a film review, for example, you might try to be more conversational. Give your prose some personality, but also write in a way that is authentic to who you are as an individual. And finally, have fun. Writing entertaining prose should also entertain the one who writes it. As a point of comparison, consider the following examples. I want you to imagine a school announcement made over the intercom, the first of which would strike students as unremarkable and dull. As you'll see, the second example spices things up. Attention students, we have some exciting news for you. The message is clear, but not very exciting to read. Now the same message revised for entertainment value. Hello, are you out there? Oh, I'm sorry, you were sleeping? Me too, because that last announcement was so bloody boring. Now for some real news. As you can no doubt see, both announcements serve the same functional purpose. But I think you'll agree that the second announcement is more entertaining. This is due to a difference in style. Let us know what you think of today's readings in the discussion forum. That's it for today. Ta-ta for now.